Welcome to this video where I'm going to be going over exactly how I've been playing Ethereum over the last week and where I expect prices to go in the next week. I'm also going to be going over my best day trading strategy that has been extremely profitable for me for the last week. Let's get into it. We're going to start off with Ethereum on the 4-hour time frame. As you can see, the 3 push wedge come up for a 1-2, we've come down, and then we came here for a double top. As you would remember, I was talking about this is the area that I'd be interested in. I was either interested in a big push like we would have here, big 1-2 push, then we go through and then we just continue higher and higher. It's not quite what happened. This is what I was expecting. You would expect these bull bars to keep continuing in that direction. Unfortunately, you can see as soon as we got into this direction, we had a nice solid red bar, green bar, but again, massive dojis, whereas we're getting stronger red bars. Massive red bar closing on its low, doji, big red bar closing on its low, doji, and then we got a massive crackdown. This is actually a bit of a symmetrical triangle in here that you will see when we go down into other time frames. And as I've explained, a symmetrical triangle in this instance did have probably a 60% chance to break to the upside. But when these high probability trades don't break to the upside and they actually break to the downside, that's when the trade is going to move extremely fast, and that's when you have to get in. This bar here was the entry bar, and I've been playing it short ever since. We haven't been able to get above this 20 EMA, and we've just been short. The first place for stops would have been in here, and as you can see, that was a little stopping area that we came through. The next area here was here for stops. As you can see, we made a massive wick into the area and we came off. It's really easy to actually read the bars and to understand what is exactly happening. You go through bar by bar, one by one, because this doji bar didn't just happen for no reason. Why did it go extremely high, extremely low, and close very thinly in the middle? You have to think about that because it actually determines how the trade was playing out. You can see that this was a support area because people were putting their stops below the last big bull run. Now the last stop area is here because this was the last area before we push to the upside, and here is where the last amount of stops would be, and you'd expect this actually to be tested. We do have a bit of a small symmetrical triangle in here once you come into different time frames, and again the apex of the triangle being this part here is again usually tested. So I do expect lower prices. We're currently at 1,080 on Ethereum. I'm expecting to at least come down to 1,050, and then before we potentially have a push higher. Let's move to the 30-minute time frame, and then I'm going to combine the 4-hour and the 30-minute time frame to explain exactly what I've been doing over the last few weeks. Coming here on the 30-minute time frame, you can see we're having some big bars, but we're actually in a bit of a symmetrical triangle. You can tell this, and I can start to see that we're in a triangle, is because of these converging lines. We got a big push, then we got a smaller push, smaller push, smaller push, smaller push, smaller push, and it's basically just going like this, and it's just getting really tight. And when we get to this area in here, when we get to this tight area, you're expecting a breakout. Doesn't matter which direction it's going to go, doesn't matter exactly how it's going to play out. All you know is expect a breakout. And when you start to see large bars breaking in one direction, like you see in here, you scroll in here and you get a massive 1.68% bar closing on its low, massive bar. Look at all these bars to the left. The last bar was like 3 hours ago that was even close to that size. Massive bar closing right on its low. It's signaling to me that the place is to go short. As you can see, every time we got above the EMA here, we went down above the EMA, great short position. 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 And that's how I've been trading this the last few weeks. Every time, well, the last few days, sorry, every time we try and get above this EMA, I'm ready to get short. Above this EMA, ready to get short. Above this EMA, bam, we've cracked down over 6-8% in just the last 24 hours. Now, this is what you need to be understanding here, and that's why these doji bars, looking on the 4-hour, where is the support coming in? Where are you expected to play? We can do a bit of a one-to-one with the symmetrical triangle and bring that here, and you can even see that it does, this strategy does line up. You can see there was a lot of wicks in here. As soon as the price gets in, it bounces out, gets in, bounces out. So there was stops in here, there was different strategies that were converging in this area, and as you can see, we try to get higher, and after this bar here, right on this bar here is the next entry point, because you need to wait for it to break the low, and you need a decent bar closing mostly on its low before we continue down. Last part I'm going to show in this video is a strategy that I've been using to actually trade this market. It's extremely profitable, so make sure you're understanding. Now I find this to be a fantastic strategy. The way that I do it is I open up the 4-hour time frame on the left-hand side and I open up the 30-minute time frame on the right-hand side. The left-hand side is my long-term time frame. The right-hand side is my intermediate time frame. What I'm looking to do is to determine the trend on my 4-hour time frame and then trade in this direction on the 30-minute time frame. And how do I determine the trend? Firstly, we just scroll out and see what has been happening over the last few weeks, over the last few months. The trend is obviously in the downwards direction. Clearly, we're starting from up here and we're coming downwards direction. Most likely shorts are going to be most profitable, and that's the direction I'm looking at. Coming into here, when I'm looking in here, what I started to see in the biggest push was we had a double top. Once we had a double top, I thought, okay, we're not pushing higher. We're going to either, when we get to this apex of the triangle, we're either going to explode to the new high or we're going to break down and be this double top. Once I saw this move and we got a breakdown, now I'm thinking in my head, more on the short side. The last few weeks have been short. This trade is high probability on the short side. The second thing I'm looking at is the direction of this EMA. As you can see, the direction on the slope of the EMA is upwards, 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 and only now is it starting to turn downwards. I want to trade in the direction of the EMA, also in the trend of the 4-hour, and I want to combine these two to have confluence to make sure I'm trading, because you could have got short in this trade and then been in profit a couple of days later. The thing is, we want clear signals as to when 3 or 4 signals are converging together to say now's the time to get into your trade, rather than one signal just saying, yep, now's the time. You're going to find that it's much higher probability to trade like that rather than just jump in a trade because one signal says so. Right in here, that's when I'm interested in shorts. And that was on the 10th of July. Today we're at the 12th. So that's when I was interested in shorts. Now I turn onto my 30-minute and I find, where are we? 10th of June, we're over in this area here. This was the breakdown right over here. As you can see, we broke down. Solid breakdown, I'd be looking for shorts. Now, if you're not in a short all through this area here and you're not sure when to get back in, this is what I'm looking for. As soon as the 30-minute got above the EMA, look, everything sold off. Once we got above the EMA, everything sold off. Once we got above the EMA, everything sold off. So what I'm trying to look to do is trade in the direction of the 4-hour time frame. Especially when price gets above the average price, that's an even better time to take a short, because we pushed above the average price and we're in a bear market, so we're likely to go lower. So we're basically just getting an extremely good trade up here and we're just taking it down. And as you can see, let's scroll out all the way from after this triangle. After this, every time we basically touched the EMA or got slightly higher, it was a great short position. And that's a key trading. Trade with the trend. Find the trend on a longer term time frame and maximize it on a shorter term time frame. Make sure you're trading with the trend and actually find some good profit points. When I'm trading here, I'm using this area as to where to determine my profit taking, but I'm using the 30-minute to determine where my stop level is. So I have a shorter stop and high probability trade in the positive direction. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Next one in the next couple of days. Make sure to check the description box if you're interested in checking out Bybit, massive deals, and my trading course.